Go, Sean.
Let's get it.
Be crazy.
I got a Mickey in my pocket, gotta check out the Thule. I can't be pushing up daisies cause a nigga was goofy. Zoolander, Ben Stiller, cause I live in the movie. Pull up on you with the shiesty, stinking you Gucci. Ski mask on when he gripping his Uzi. Time for sorrow, shivering, woozy. Ricky Ricardo, had to get him a Lucy. It's fucked up. See, E4 ass niggas like trust us. With gusto.
StreamYard. Okay, am I even still live? My screen is not. Okay. Yeah. Had to say that for another day. Let's get into it, man. Welcome to the House of Dindara, the House of Drama. Hope you all had a very good week. Hope you had a good weekend, man. Start the week off right. Of course, we're going to get into the sports as always, and of course, politics and whatever else got across my radar. Let me see. Yeah, man, this StreamYard is, some BS. Can't even get into my regular flow of feng shui. But anyway, like I said, give me a shout out to those who made it. Some of those of you that catch us on the replay, because I know what most of y'all are at anyway. The show is the show, and the show must go on. DMO, how you doing, Miss Lady? Saw you here earlier. Yeah, no, not didn't right. Hey Murph, how you doing? First of all, it is a pleasure to see you back back on the YouTube streets. Hope you enjoy the trip to vacate. It looked like you was on an island somewhere. I'm curious to know what island was you on. But yeah, it looked like you had a good time, and it's nothing wrong with being outside. Can't wait for my trip to Turks. What's this? May? What? A little bit over 4 months. But yeah, like I said, man, I know where most of the folks is at, man, doing what they do over there, man. Shouts out to them. But of course, we're gonna get into the sports and basketball. NBA playoffs first round has concluded. Give you some of my thoughts. The Bahamas is they kind of look like, was you at Bimini? They kind of, by the beach. By the picture, I guess it was by the beach. I think it was the beach, but it looked like Bimini. But I may be wrong because it could have been Nassau. It didn't look as commercialized as Nassau is, but it looked like Bimini to me. Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah. Some folks, man, get out here and use them passports, man. Get them stamps up, man. Bimini, Nassau, Celebration Key. I haven't been to Celebration Keys. Been to Nassau. Haven't been to Celebration Keys. But I have been to Nassau. Have been to Bimini. Haven't been to Celebration Keys. That sounds like fun. I might want to have to put that on my to-do list next time I'm down in the Bahamas. Celebration Keys. Look that up. I'm looking forward to my Turk trip. But anyway, you guys didn't come to hear me talk. Well, you did come to hear me talk, but not about stuff like that. Oh, the numbers is a little too high. What's going on? Oh, something's off in the water. What's going on, Vic? Something's off in the water, man. Yeah, I was, peeking in over in other places, but but let's keep it. Ooh, let's talk about these playoffs, man. First round has concluded. Let me give you my thoughts on, some of my thoughts on this first round, and second round has already started tonight. Looks like kind of for you 76ers fan, WY. I'm just saying, Vic, God is God has divine timing, and I scheduled, the live stream earlier in the day, not knowing what was going to transpire. Yeah, you can ask me about it tomorrow. Yeah, we got to catch up. But I set the live up, but I didn't know what was going to transpire throughout the course of the day and the night. And it just so happens that once we start seeing someone try to do a fashion show, the good Lord said it's time to go over here and start your show, brother. So you won't have to see what demon time that individual was on. But yeah, hopefully, I catch the replay. If not, it wasn't meant for me. He's on time, God. I swear to God, boy, on time with it. But let's get into it. Like I said, first round is completed. Second round has already started. You have the Knicks currently putting belt to ass on the 76ers, 106-73. Third quarter is about up. And I'm gonna give my thoughts on the second round. Just kind of give you stories right now. Timberwolves and Spurs going back and forth in their second round matchup. Let's talk about this first round before we kind of dive into my thoughts going into the second round. First round, I would say this. To me, it was a bit underwhelming at times and a bit disjointed at times. You got Knicks at 7, Vic. I'm not mad at that, Vic. I'm gonna hold you on the record for that. I'm not mad at that pick. I'm gonna give my picks for the second round based on that. But I'm just gonna say this, man. For the most part, pretty much. Well, Murph, my pick may surprise you. Give me a minute to get to there, and I'll see if I can convince you otherwise. But first round for me, a bit underwhelming at times. For the series that I thought was going to be, pretty much 4 or 5 and done. For the most part, that kind of played true. I'm gonna talk about Lakers Rockets. Underwhelming series. For the most part, underwhelming series. No, I mean, just it looked like, I'm not going to say it was 80s style basketball, but it looked very 90ish, very slow, methodical pace. And no KD out on the court, and I expected as much from Houston not being able to get out and run. So congratulations to the Lakers for moving on, but I think the Lakers are in for either the complete sweep or the gentleman's sweep here against OKC Thunder. OKC took care of business against Phoenix, much expected. I expect them to take care of business against this Lakers team. But like I said, back to this first round. Nuggets fans, if you're out there, I picked the Nuggets to win their playoff series. I expect the Nuggets to make a very deep playoff run this year. And is it time for us to have the discussion? Nuggets fans, if you're out there, Gator, I know you're one of those that's very much in the corner of the Joker. Is it time to break up that duo that they have out there in Denver? Because it's obvious that I know what I'm getting from Yoke. I'm going to get damn near a triple-double every night. I'm going to get very high-level play on a very, very consistent basis. But is it time to have the discussion that maybe the pairing of him and Jamal Murray is not enough to be really in the conversation for championship, level contendership for that team? Jamal Murray, and I said this going into their playoff series, if Jamal Murray is able to go out there and play as consistently as he has, it's probably been his best season as far as consistency. Got him his first All-Star appearance. If he was able to go out there and be consistent, Denver had a very strong chance of winning this series and moving on to face the San Antonio Spurs in the second round. But as you saw, Joe, even though he had, this numbers-wise, had a very good series numbers-wise, this wasn't playing at the level that I thought he would reach during this series. But credit the defense from Rudy Gobert, credit the defensive game plan from the Minnesota Timberwolves for kind of slowing Yoke down, making him work a lot harder than he wanted to. And he had to work a lot harder because you got no consistent play from Jamal Murray. And I think it's time we have that discussion. Is Jamal Murray really one of those guys? Is he really one of those dudes that you can depend on night in and night out? And this has been the knock I've had on Jamal Murray, especially when it comes to playoff time. This guy disappears. He goes on the goddamn milk carton when you need him the most. For you to have a very pedestrian in a closeout game, closeout situation at home to be so pedestrian. What do you have, like 15 points, 4-16 shooting? It's not going to get it done. Now, when you're going to be considered yourself an all-star, you've complained throughout the years about not being, looked at in that same echelon as when we're talking about the top guards in the league. And it's the reason why you're not in that same echelon. I know what I'm getting from barring health. I know what I'm getting from a Steph Curry. Barring health, I know what I'm getting from a Dame. Barring health, hell, I know what I'm getting from Jalen Brunson. I'm just saying, Jamal Murray, he's a good guy, good player. But at this point, Denver, if you're really talking about competing in the Western Conference, that is not going to get any easier next season. OKC gets a little bit older, gets a little bit better. San Antonio, depending on how their playoff run goes, you could be looking at the beginning of the next dynasty. If nothing else, San Antonio will be in the conversation next year. Everybody around you is going to make changes to get better. Denver, you're going to have to. And I think, from them, Jamal Murray is a piece I'm looking to move off of. I just cannot depend on this dude when it comes crunch time. And that's one of the major takeaways I had from the series against the Timberwolves. And credit the Timberwolves for going out there. Hey, you lose DiVincenzo for the remainder of the season. You lose Anthony Edwards for the remainder of that series. For you to go out there and take care of business against a team. Now, granted, Aaron Gordon missed significant time on the Denver side, so it's not to say that Denver didn't have any injuries, but Anthony Edwards is widely considered the best player on the Timberwolves. He's gone. DiVincenzo is one of the top players on their team. He's gone. And it set up itself nicely. When those guys went down, many people expected Denver to take control of the series, and they just couldn't do it. And they deserve to be sent home. They deserve to be sent home. And it is what it is. But very, very disappointing, playoff run for Denver. And I'm not running this. I'm not running this squad back. I'm not running this squad back. The squad is not good enough. I think you need to find another guy that can consistently get his own shot at the guard position and comes up good in money time. Jamal Murray's not the answer. Jamal Murray's not the answer. Going on to the other playoff series, Orlando Magic fans, you got to be sick to your stomach. You blew a 3-1 lead against Detroit. Now, granted, Detroit was the number 1 seed going into this, but it took a lot of effort. And for that game, I want to say it was game 6, when you guys missed 23 straight shots, it shows that you're not ready to take that next step into the upper echelon as far as the Eastern Conference is concerned. So, Orlando, you blow a 3-1 lead. You lose in game 7. Pleasantly surprised. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Pleasantly surprised by the performance of the Philadelphia 76ers. Get kudos, man. Get kudos. Took care of business, forced a game 7, won a game 7 in Boston. Now, and I'm going to talk about that Knicks series in just a second. But I'm, very, very pleased by that performance against Boston. I was one of those people that picked Boston to win that series, especially with no Embiid. Embiid looked kind of iffy that first game back, but he really found his spot. And let's give kudos to Philadelphia for the game planning. Paul George rejuvenated, but taking advantage of Embiid and the lack of size for Boston really played a role in turning around this series once, and that's good coaching. That's good coaching and understanding what you have and taking advantage of that, in the playoffs. And that's the kind of stuff you have to do. Boston, no Jason Tatum. He went down, could not play in game 7. But, Boston is a team for me. You live by the 3, you die by the 3. In a league where the 3-point shot is what it is, and teams have built their offenses around the 3-point shot. When the shots are not falling, listen, you got to take it to the bucket. You got to take it to the bucket. And now you have Big Embiid down there, playing defense, but you got to be a little bit more aggressive with taking it to the basket. Not just we're just going to keep settling for threes and hope one of these falls. And I think the 3-point shot definitely cost Boston in this series. And I would say this about Boston, closing them out as their season is over. God, as a Lakers fan, you know how that is. But mic check. Am I good now, Murph? Am I good now? This stream y'all be on the bullshit. I might have been saying something profound and no sound. Jesus. All right, but anyway, man, let me see if I can pick up. Okay. Just when I think I'm cooking, I guess I was showing Philly too much love, and they said stop that bullshit. But yeah, Detroit, not a foregone conclusion to make it to the Eastern Conference Final. I'm curious to see how Game 1 is going to kind of play out. For me, it's going to kind of set the tempo against the Cavaliers. I do think Detroit is the better team. Hopefully, Duran, the big man for Detroit, is able to have a much more consistent series. Is able to have a much more consistent series that he did against Orlando. But I think that's another 6-game series. I'm picking Pistons in that one. Now with the Knicks, bum rushing 76ers. I expected this in Game 1. New York coming off a pretty clean. It went 6 against the Hawks. I thought the Hawks was going to win in 7, but they got bombed out of there. New York has been able to kind of rest up. Philadelphia's coming off a hard. Look who decides to show up when the season over. What's going on, Speed Greasy? Yeah, your Celtics went out bad. I mean, just never made any adjustments to Embiid, and I think that with Paul George getting his game back, really kind of change the dynamic of the series. I think they allowed Embiid to kind of get too comfortable in that series, allow him to kind of get his rhythm back after being out, and it cost him. But they're getting smoked tonight. I'm getting the Knicks Game 1. It's currently 115-84. New York taking care of business. Now I will say this: I know Vic, you got the Knicks in 7. I got 76ers in 7, and here's why I say 76ers in 7. I'm just gonna chalk this Game 1 loss up to being fatigued. You're coming off a hard 7-game series. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that I think Philadelphia is gonna come back, win Game 2. I think this goes 7, but I got Philadelphia winning. And here's why I say I got Philadelphia winning. as good as a player as Brunson is, and I've said this during the last round, Brunson to me is not he's not a big dog alpha player. Now he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but I think if Tyrese Maxey and the boy Edgecombe is able to kind of get him into some pick and roll action when they get singled up on him and get space to work, Jalen Brunson can't stay. Listen, he struggles staying in front of CJ McCollum. And not to say that CJ McCollum is a square player, is a good guard, but I think Tyrese Maxey is on another level. And athletically, VJ Edgecombe is a different beast than CJ McCollum. Listen, McCollum was giving Brunson the business. What's working him? Outside of, I would say, probably game 6 when Atlanta got blew off the floor, CJ was playing him head up mano y mano as far as like their impact on the game. Now, like I said, I got Philadelphia in 6. Not excuse me, Philadelphia in 7. I got Philadelphia in 7. I say, game 1, hey, you're coming in fatigued. Let's get through the night with no injuries. If Embiid is healthy, he's going to be able to have some motion going on down there because Cat is not going to want to be down there banging. That's not Cat's game. He's not going to want to be down there banging with Embiid. And I think Embiid is, with the Boston series, found his way, got into a good rhythm to where he understands his place. It's not, Embiid or bust for Philadelphia anymore. This has become Tyrone Maxey's team. And this is a team that kind of gets up and down. Be on the lookout for Paul George. I want to watch how Paul George, does he continue to have, I want to say, a resurgence. The guy who has been one of the better two-way players in the league for the time he's been in the league. He's been kind of, the forgotten man, and rightfully so. He hasn't had the best tenure since he's come to the 76ers. I think Paul George can be the equalizer. But tonight you're getting your ass whooped. This is what it is. Moving on to the Western Conference, I'm not going to spend too much. I think Thunder take care of Lakers in a gentleman's sweep. Considering that they've smoked them all 4 games in the regular season. No Luka. I mean, you do have AR back, but who's going to give Shea? Who's going to make Shea work on the other end? I just don't see it, and I think OKC. Their big men are way better than big men that the Lakers have. I think Ayton played well the latter end of the series against the Rockets, but Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein, those are different. Now, Jalen Williams, Jalen Williams for OKC is currently slated to be out for the remainder of this series. There's a possibility that people are talking about Luka may come back if this series extends. Even if it extends, I think OKC is too good of a team. I think they take care of business. Gentleman's sweep, and that's being, polite. Gentleman's sweep of the Lakers. Lakers season ends. Then the question goes to the off seasons. What's going on with LeBron, the future of LeBron, but blah blah blah. I think this. If Joel and they can get the Sixers, everything they left, can make it to the championship. Philly has a good. This Eastern Conference is wide open. Eastern Conference, especially after if you take it to the totality of how the first round kind of played out, it's wide open now. Based on the 4 teams left in the Eastern Conference, Knicks are the favorite to pull it out in the Eastern Conference. I will say that much. They are the early favorite to kind of get it done. But it's a toss-up. Because Detroit is shown throughout the season they're able to kind of get it done. Cade Cunningham is the MVP level caliber player. He's playing like it. You can swing. I say the Eastern Conference is wide open, man. I think if I had to rank based on how my gut feeling, I think 76ers. Right behind them is the Knicks, then the Pistons, then the Cavs. Based on how the kind of first round went. Regular season is what regular season is. You kind of throw it out the window. I look at, what you've done lately and confidence level. I think Philadelphia is slightly above New York. But it's not showing. It's not showing tonight. But hey, it's just one game. This one game, you're coming off a 7 game. I expect you guys to kind of get beat. Maybe not beat like this, but beat. And going back to the Western Conference, you have Timberwolves. Right now in the dogfight with San Antonio. This is probably out of all the series here, I think this is probably going to be probably the most entertaining. I don't think I think New York is 76, so I think they go 7. I think it's going to be a lot of drama in New York, Philly, media outlets, blah blah blah. But just to watch the young boys go up and down the court, the future of the NBA, San Antonio putting on a display, and Edwards is expected to return. I think he might have returned tonight. I'm not sure, but Timberwolves and Spurs I think that's going to be a lot of exciting balls, a lot of good athletes on the floor, a lot of good athletes, and we're going to see Wembanyama. I think Wembanyama Gobert is going to be the key match because Gobert played. Excuse me. Gobert played well, played very well in the first round against Yoke. Now he didn't shut him down or lock him down, but he made Yoke work for the buckets that he did get. I think he's going to be able to kind of limit some of the impact on he's going to make Wemby work a little bit down on the block. It's not like Gobert is a short center. He's a big man. I think he's going to be able to kind of keep Wemby off the glass. So I think for me that's like the matchup there. I also want to see how Castle, Fox, and them young guards, some young wings for San Antonio match up against some of those wings and players that they have on Minnesota. Like when healthy, Anthony Edwards could arguably be ruled the best player on the court. I don't think he's 100%, even if he is playing. But I like that. I like to see that matchup of Jaden McDaniel. How to see he impact. This is going to be a very good series. I think it's going to be a very entertaining series. I got Spurs in this one. I think this goes 6. I think this series goes 6. But it wouldn't surprise me. The Timberwolves have enough talent. This is a team that has made a couple of deep runs in the playoffs over the last couple of years. I think they have enough talent to push San Antonio in ways that Portland just could not. So I think San Antonio wins in 6. But if you told me Minnesota was able to push this to 6, 7, and win the series, I wouldn't be mad at this. Is a team that's got a lot of playoff experience on the team. Julius Randle could be an X factor in this series. I think Julius Randle could be an X factor in this series. So, that's my picks. I got Thunder moving on. I got Spurs moving on, setting up that big time matchup, which some people may call the real NBA championship in the Western Conference Finals. I got Pistons over Cavs, and I got 76ers. I got Pistons over Cavs, and I got 76ers winning in 7. Now, granted, it don't look good for them tonight. They're getting blown off the court in New York, but it's one game. We've seen New York, kind of struggle on the road at times throughout the course of this year. So, with that being said, okay, do I got any more NBA news to kind of get into? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I don't want to have a long ass show tonight. Brother got to get up, go to the gym and all that shit. Got some other shit going on. Yeah. Hey, YouTube Unfolded. Rudy has to be effective. I agree, Vic. I think Rudy is going to make Wemby work in a very, very different way, to where I don't think Wemby's going to be able to kind of wander away, because Gobert is good on the glass, and Gobert is a good lob option. Gobert is what, 7'1", 7'2". So he's got the length and the size to good evening, good night. Got the length and the size to match up with Wemby down on the block. I think he's just going to kind of struggle when he has to be drug out to the 3-point line. But Minnesota's got some athletes that can kind of help help Gobert in that aspect. I mean, yeah, I mean, you just that's the matchup to watch. That's a matchup to watch. You know, Wemby's had pretty good games against Gobert, but Gobert's done his fair share. He's done his fair share. I will say that. I will say that. Um, I will say that. Listen, second round is turning out to be. It's turning out, you know, to be pretty good. You win and you advance. It's what it is. 76ers, I think, have an opportunity that I'm picking them to win in 7. I think I like how Embiid has come back, and I want to say he's embraced the role. Now speak not listen. Rudy is not listening. No, he's not stopping Embiid. But I think he's going to be able to kind of make him, and he kind of did this with Yoke. Yoke is a better player than Gobert, but he made him work for the points. By going, chasing him out a little bit, making him move his feet, getting the body on. And you didn't really kind of see that in the Portland series where they was able to kind of, get a body on Wemby, kind of wear him down. He has a smaller frame. We're talking about, as far as the minutes he's playing and, getting to this deep in the season, he's bound to have a little fatigue. Like I said, Gobert, I'm not picking him in a one-on-one matchup with Wemby. I think Wemby's going to win that matchup. But if Gobert is able to kind of, give a team 8 points, 13, 14 boards a game, to me, I think that's putting up a good fight. Keep Wemby off of the glass. Maybe a block or two here. When Wemby decides he wants to kind of go down on the block, I think Wemby's going to understand. I mean, these guys know each other from the French national team. So you got to kind of take that into account. Like, Rudy's not going to be able to limit Wemby. No. But yeah, closing out second round is turning out to be very good. But back to the Embiid, I like how Embiid. I wouldn't even consider Embiid. Now I'm on. You guys are basketball fans yourself. Is it me? Now, obviously, this is Tyrone Maxey's team. This is Maxey's team, and the team goes as he goes. But has Embiid embraced more of a role like the Joker? Could you, when you talk about, the game he had, it was like 20-some points, 12-some assists. Embiid understand, hey, the offense doesn't flow through me anymore. I think he's cool with that. And just like, let me pick my spots, but I can be effective. I want to call Embiid a decoy, but he draws so much attention that it allows those young guards and those young wings to kind of after it. Is it me? Is it Embiid kind of embracing the Joker role within this offense to where he's kind of, his presence has kind of helped facilitate the offense? I'll be curious to see how that kind of plays out through the rest of this series. But that's what I got from the Boston series. Like, it wasn't like Embiid was dominant, but he had such a profound effect on the game. He made life a little bit easier for guys just by his presence on the floor and the attention that he commands. And Cat and Mitchell Robinson, are two good big men, but Embiid to me is a better player. But I like how his presence kind of, and let's keep it above. Jalen Brunson, if you can get him to a one-on-one with no big man help, it's time to eat. Joel is still the best big man in the East, no debate. I'm gonna disagree with that, Speak. I ain't gonna disagree with that. But here's the thing with Embiid: when healthy, can Embiid, can his body stand up to another 7-game series? We know the longer the season goes on, the more Embiid check engine light comes on. Can he survive another 7 game? To me, I think the series goes 7. I think New York takes care of business at home. I think Philadelphia evens it up and they come back to New York. Exactly, going to help you. That's the thing. I think this is going to be a long series. I think this is going to be a long series, and we have seen, the longer the series goes, the longer the season is gone, Finby, that check engine light come on, and I'm concerned, but I think Philadelphia has enough firepower. I think Philadelphia has enough talent, especially at the guard position, to really kind of put pressure on New York, much like Atlanta did in the first round. As far as the guard play, put pressure on New York and make this a series. Make this, don't look like it in game one. I ain't gonna lie to you, don't look like it in game one, but I think they got enough in the tank to kind of make this a series. Where do I want to go next? I think I've done enough ball. Pause. Basketball talk. All right, man. So let's kind of move on to this. Well, before we kind of move on to the deep dive politics of it. For those who don't know, Spirit Airlines shut down over the weekend. Yeah, call myself speak. Spirit Airlines shut down over the weekend, canceling all flights and effectively kind of going out of business over this past weekend. And the proposed government bailout didn't fall through. It was a proposed bailout, which, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't agree with. Companies are designed to rise and fall, and I'm not into the business of we're going to keep this airline afloat for whatever reason at the expense of taxpayer dollars. Spirit shut down. The deal fell through. It was supposed to be alleged $500 million bailout deal, and it fell through at the last minute. So Spirit has been shut down, and the market, and other airlines have adjusted. You've seen JetBlue increase their presence down in South Florida, where Spirit Airlines has a heavy presence. Listen, man, airlines come and go. Where's my bailout? Listen, Murph, you and me both, and we're gonna talk about bailouts and the money. If you listen to this show long enough, you guys know, hey man, politics and that kind of stuff. Listen, it is a game of money. It's not about taking care of the people in the vote. It's about, hey, how can I, especially politicians, what can I do to enrich myself and those around me? And that's how they kind of look at it. And even with the deal with Spirit Airlines, it's been reported that the government, if they was going to get the deal done, they was going to require Spirit to turn over a certain percentage of their fleet to be used for military purposes. This is what it is. This is what it is. But Spirit going out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never flown Spirit. Never had the inkling or the willingness, I guess, to fly Spirit. I just don't. That's not to say that I'm bougie, because when AirTran was around, I flew that. I've been on JetBlue, but I'm mainly Delta for the most part. I've been on American Airlines, of course. Spirit just never, appealed to me. It just never appealed to me. I just, not to say that it was crappy, but it was just Spirit had that kind of Greyhound of the sky type vibe. So like I said, they're out. It's sad that those people lost their jobs and having to pivot. It's not just the airlines and pilots and flight attendants. You talk about the people who work, those gates, who work the ground crews and all that. So it's a lot of people, affected by it. So, but Spirit is out of business as of now. I guess, rest easy. But anyway, moving on. Speaking of money, this war that Trump has in Iran is costing people more and more and more and more money. And I find it interesting. That they keep coming to Congress, aka keep coming to the taxpayer saying we need money for this, we need money for that, we need money for this, we need money for that. But when it's time for you to kind of put money into people's pockets to, what happened to the Doge checks? When it's time to take care of the people with their, and I just find this fascinating. It's your money. It's your, your taxpayers fund the federal government. It's your money, but they want to make you feel bad about when you want, your money to work directly for you. You want your money back. You want your bailout. You want your student loans paid off with with taxpayer money, which is your money also. But let me get this clip ready real quick. Hopefully, matter of fact, let me get it prepped because StreamYard on some bullshit. But I do want to let me tell you, and we're gonna get into the Iran war a little bit more in detail. But I'm gonna get sidetracked here with this story that kind of broke over the weekend. Also, kind of flew under the radar. A lot of people didn't catch it, wasn't paying attention for because they was focusing on the war and all this kind of stuff. But recently, it was the Lincoln Memorial Project recently had bidding. For kind of keeping it, refurbishing the national mall and pool and all of that kind of stuff. And contracts was, when the feds do bidding. Let me kind of get this together here. Okay, it's not okay. My sound's still good. I still see the little thing moving. Okay. Kind of get this here. Okay. Okay, come back over here. All right. I'm still good. I should be still good. Okay. But here you have Trump admitting on camera that not only did he bypass federal laws in regards to, the bids and, how that kind of works, contract is put out, companies bid on it, contract is awarded to the winner. They get taxpayer money to complete said project. Well, Trump decided, I'm going to take the taxpayers' money. I'm going to skip the bid process, and I'm gonna give it to some people. I'm gonna give the contract to guys who do contract work at his golf resort. Listen, their job is to enrich themselves and to enrich those around them. You're talking about a massive contract of this magnitude, and we're talking about upwards to estimated to the hundreds of millions of dollars to quote unquote renovate and get this project done. But here he is, readily admitting on camera that he doesn't give a damn about that. He's going to give the government contract, aka your tax dollar, aka my tax dollars, to people that he know that I'm going to give my friend a hookup on your dollar. Here he is saying this on camera.
2.5 years means 5 years. $350 million means $500 million to fix it. And I said, I built all these swimming pools, and they're phenomenal. In 20 years, I have one up the road where it's a great club on the Potomac River. And I bought it up at 21 years ago, and I built a beautiful Olympic-sized pool. And I asked the other day, I said, how good is the pool? Oh, it's beautiful, sir. I looked at it, it looks like it's brand new. It was done 20 years ago. So I have some very good contractors, some good, one or two in particular. And I said the three best. I said, do me a favor, fellas. Go take a look at the reflecting pool that sits in between Lincoln and Washington. The beautiful, what should be beautiful reflecting pool. And one of them who came back was really, I would say, the best. They were all good. He came back, he said, what an exciting job, sir. I said, so how long would it take you? 2.5 years means 5 years,
$350 million contract awarded to people that and this is probably the most openly corrupt administration I've ever seen in my life. Listen, I believe that all of these politicians are in the business of making money and staying in a position to where not only they can make money for themselves, but also make money for people, their real constituents, which is not me and you, which is not the average taxpayer, but the people who line their pocket. Who we're talking about? Your donor base. Your donor base. So you're going to award a upwards to $300+ million contract to some guys who do the swimming pool work at your golf resort. I mean, you can't make this up, man. You can't make this up. You cannot make this. Let me take this down. You cannot make this up with Trump. Well, but then again, this is the most openly corrupt administration. Listen, they do it in front of your face all the time. You know, we've talked about it throughout the course of this presidency. Hey, the Qatar jet airplane that he got, listen, we know he's going to keep it. We knew he was going to accept it. When you know the deals that Eric Trump and Kushner are working in, the contracts that they're getting with companies that they're linked to, this out in the open. They're in the business of making money. They do not give a damn about you. You look at the effects of this war. Let's keep it a bucket. It's a war. People have lost their lives. A lot of people have lost their lives in this. This war is costing you every day you go to the pump. People are having to make life decisions based on a decision that one was not voted on by their quote unquote representative and constituents in Congress. It's something you decided to do on your own. And the American taxpayer is paying for it at the pump. They're paying for it at the grocery store. Listen, they don't give a damn. They don't care. Trump does not care. And they don't care so much as they want to. And here's the thing about propaganda. If you listen to Trump, if you listen to the Fox News and you listen to certain outlets, they would have you to believe that America is coming away unscathed. America is just dominating this war with Iran. But recently, people are starting to ask questions, and footage is starting to get out in regards to what is really going on in the Middle East in regards to this war. Hold on for a second, people. I don't think this is the one. Check this out real quick. This is a CNN article that kind of ran, but check this out real quick.
Camp Buehring, Kuwait. American soldiers enjoying a karaoke night at one of the biggest U.S. military hubs in the Gulf. That was then. This is now. A once bustling American microcity and heavily damaged after a weeks-long barrage of Iranian missiles and drones. One of many U.S. military facilities in the oil-rich Arabian Peninsula, targeted by Iran even as the U.S. and Israel pummeled the Islamic Republic's large arsenal. So what impact have Iran's strikes had on America's footprint in the Middle East? A CNN investigation found evidence of unprecedented destruction. We can reveal that strikes damaged at least 16 U.S. installations across 8 countries. According to our analysis and sourcing, that's the majority of American military positions in the region, and some of them are virtually unusable now. A U.S. source familiar with the situation told us that they'd never seen anything like this at American bases, that these were rapid, targeted strikes using advanced technology. Iran's main targets? Multi-million-dollar aircraft, like this Boeing E-3 Sentry, which gave the U.S. a huge amount of visibility over the Gulf. It's out of production, and in today's money, it's worth nearly $500 million. Critical communications equipment. Look at these giant golf balls. They're known as radomes, and they protect satellite dishes vital for data transmission. In this base alone, Iran destroyed all but one of the radomes less than a month into the war. And crucially, radar systems. Highly sophisticated, expensive, difficult to replace, and critical to air defense. A second U.S. source, this one a congressional aide familiar with damage assessments, described these as the most cost-effective of the targets. Our radar systems, they said, are our most expensive and our most limited resource in the region. For U.S. allies in the region, there's a dilemma. In some ways, Iran's show of force makes the U.S.'s presence in the region even more necessary to Gulf security. But there's a new reality here, which is that U.S. military installations previously have turned into sitting targets. As a Saudi source told me, the war has shown Saudi Arabia, that's the U.S.'s longest-standing Arab ally, that the alliance with the U.S. cannot be exclusive, and it is not, in their words, impregnable. To get a sense of just how vulnerable U.S. facilities have become, have a look at this. It's the war room at Qatar's El Udeid Air Base, the theater command and control hub for U.S. air power across 21 nations. Struck not just once, but twice, and according to a U.S. source, causing significant damage. The base had been largely evacuated at this point, and no casualties were reported. Iran's visibility over its targets has never been clearer. In 2024, according to the Financial Times, Tehran secretly acquired a Chinese satellite known as the TEE-01B, a massive upgrade from its own satellites. That means that Tehran went from looking at images of this quality to this. This is the first time America has fought an adversary with satellites that capture high-res imagery almost as detailed as its own. As the scale of the damage comes into focus, many will wonder whether America's presence, once a protective shield in the Middle East, has turned into its Achilles heel.
All right, come back over here. Yes, I agree with you, Murph. We have no business fighting this war. Have no business fighting this war. And, I know somebody might be viewing this and wondering, like, how does this affect me? How does this trickle down to me? Well, how did this trickle down to you? The Defense Department has recently come to Congress and looking for an increase to not only to the spending budget that's awarded to the Department of Defense, but have also asked for additional money to replace, munitions, replace, stuff that was damaged in this war. And guess what? It's all coming from you, the American taxpayer. All coming from you, the American taxpayer. A war we have no business fighting. A war that, they can't even get their story straight on why they're even fighting the war. And here's the thing I like when they, this is how you pick apart one of the talking points. Trump likes to say, in a way like, this should have been done for 47 years. There's something that should have been done. People, you do know this is his second term. If he felt this strongly about it, why not do this during his first term? Why? Because every president before and probably every president after him knows, hey, this is not, I wish I could stop paying taxes. You and me both, Murph. You and me both. But, he says that, and he says that ad nauseum to make, to convince the dumb people. And let's keep it a buck. There's a lot of dumb people in this country. He says it to the dumb people to, hey, I'm doing something that should have been done years ago. But this is your second term. You were elected back in 2016. You were elected back in 2016. If you felt this strongly about making sure Iran doesn't have enriched uranium to create a nuclear weapon, and this is something that should have been handled over the past 47 years, why the fuck did you do it during your first term? I mean, but then again, people are dumb. People are dumb. They're not going to dissect what he's saying. It's like, hey, I'm just going to take it as gospel because, we like the guy. We like the guy. This dumb. And now you're trying to, negotiate and pretty much get the same deal that Obama negotiated back during his presidency. Listen, the situation with the Strait of Hormuz has been a shit show. We have reports today that, American linked vessels, strikes in the area against American ships, quote unquote part of the blockade. Listen, it's hustling, Murph. It's not even hustling backwards. It's listen, he's hustling forward. And here's why I explain it. Listen, the longer this conflict goes on, the more, the defense industry makes money. And listen, you think he's not going to be handpicking and directing the contractor money to certain people and make sure it's funneled back? Listen, Trump is here. This second term is for him. Is about, I'm creating real generational wealth for my family, and I'm gonna do that off of the backs of taking it from you. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be as bold enough to do it in your face. Why? Because a large block of my voters part of MAGA, they're dumb. They're dumb. They will continually vote against their interests. Why? Because they like a guy. No, he's not hustling backwards, Murph. He's hustling forward. The fact that he can get on there and day after day and tell you this is something that should have been handled over the past 47 years. And this dude is in his second term with a gap between it. Why was this not handled 10 years ago when you were in office? Why? Why wasn't, striking? Listen, and Iran is not Iraq. And they're proving it now. This is not, you killed the leader on the first day. They've already insulated themselves they already have a plan of action, a backup plan to the backup plan. He's in the business of making money. You don't think they've got insider trading? Like when he says, we're going to do a ceasefire, and all of a sudden the market's dropping and somebody mysteriously makes a couple $100 million? He's not hustling, Murph. He's not hustling backwards. He's hustling forward. I'm going to rob the American people in their face, and they're going to love me for it. Donald Trump Jr. is associated with a firm that all of a sudden gets a defense contract. Gets a defense contract for drones. Who do you send to negotiate with Iran? Not political officials. JD Vance ain't negotiating shit. JD Vance is just there for cover. You sent Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. Not guys who are known for military strategy or negotiating, this kind of stuff. Not former ambassador such and such. Not senator. Like no. You're sending Jared goddamn Kushner, a businessman who's over there making billions of dollars negotiating deals with countries in the Middle East. You sent him to negotiate the end to this war? Him? A businessman who we don't even know is any good. I mean, you just, you have the connect of, I have access to the president on a level that most people on God's green earth do not have. They're not hustling backwards, Murph. They're hustling forwards. You're in a ceasefire, quote unquote. The war, according to the formal letter that you sent over to Congress, the war is over. Why are we still over there? Why are we still over there? No, we got to find a way. Listen, America is about trying to find a way to make some money. They want to make some money. They want access to something. Listen, it's not hustling backwards. It's hustling forward. All the while to keep you distracted and keep you off of, keep your eye off the prize. Epstein files release. No new updates. Pam Bondi was supposed to, testify. That's pretty much been blocked. And Trump is trying to block it permanently happen. This is what this administration is. We're going to steal right in front of your face. And most of the people that voted for me, I know we're dumb. I know we're dumb. But anyway, it's not going to be a long show tonight. I mean, but this is the game. This is the game. This is how they playing it. I don't want people to think they're hustling backwards. This is about, we're in the business of making money. No, because he wants to listen. Here's the thing: if you watch this administration long, if you've watched Trump long enough, one thing I know that about Trump, he's all about appearance. All about appearance. And it hurts his soul. So when you judge, the accomplishments, and this is what Trump bases his presidency off of. This is what he considers his legacy. He bases it off comparing himself to other presidents, to past presidents who are looked at in such higher esteem than him. That's how he judges. That's how he judges his actions. That's how he judges actions. You're about to negotiate a deal that is worse than Obama's. On papers, it's worse than it's going to be worse than Obama's. You griped about not getting the Nobel Peace Prize because you wanted to have what Obama had. Listen, this guy is all about appearance. This is all about ego. That's what it's about. And that's what it's going to, for him, that's what it's about. But then he realizes, hey, I'm about to be fucking 80. I got to set up a generational wealth for my kids, because we're in the business of making money. Shout out to the good brother Ugg. I hope you're good over there in theater. But when they gave, Qatar gave him the plane. Ugg told me, he said, yeah, he ain't going to accept it. They're not going to let that fly. What? This is open corruption in your face. These folks piss on Americans on a daily basis and tell them it's raining. And you got some people out there thinking that's what's in the forecast. It's rain. No, you're getting pissed off. But this guy's all about ego. It's all about appearance, how things look. How things look. And that's why these images that you're starting to see to come out from Middle East U.S. installations, they would have you think that no U.S. installation suffered any damages. Iran was this they was hitting everything but U.S. No, they was aiming for U.S. installations, that they knew where they was at. They've caused a lot of damage. It's not been as a dominating performance as, the Trump administration will have you to believe. Why do you think they went back to Congress trying to, hey, we need some more money? You got to increase the budget because we don't spend a whole lot of this money on these goddamn munitions. Or we didn't think it was going to be this. We didn't properly plan, but then again, it wasn't about that. It's about the appearance. He likes to appear to look strong. Why do you think he always tells Americans about the cognitive test? Oh yeah, one of the questions was, they showed me a picture of a giraffe, a bear, a hippopotamus, and a monkey, and they asked me which one was the bear. Like, duck, what the fuck? The astronauts come back from outer space. Trump tries to tell you as Americans that he was fit enough to kind of do that too. Just the same guy that dodged the draft 5 times for bone spurs. He's all about appearances. Trump would have the American people believe, listen, he's Jesus. And the sad part is you got some people out there that will look at him as the same. Listen, if Jesus was allowed today, Trump will be in competition with him. Trump will be trying to tell you he saved more souls than Jesus. He's brought more people to the faith than Jesus. That's the kind of dude he is. He is all about the ego. Everything that he does, his tweets in the middle of the night, it's to feed the ego. It's going to be to feed the ego. What do you think happens when his term is over? You're no longer in the spotlight, and people no longer have to care about what you think because you're the past. You're just the old guy. But you say don't matter anymore because you're not in a position of power. In America, listen, America is partly the blame for this. Had people thinking this guy was an awesome businessman, the art of the deal, and he's got bankruptcies galore, failed businesses galore. Failed Trump University. I mean, what? But the ego. You want to piss him off? Attack the ego. That's what's irritating him when dealing with Iran. Iran is like, nah, fuck that. You say what you want to say. We're gonna put out our own statement immediately after. How are you negotiating a deal? You saying they're calling you all the time, but you don't know who's in control, who's making, who are you negotiating with? I mean, this thing, how much sense does that make, people? Hey, beautiful, how you doing? How much sense does that make? I'm negotiating a release for the hostages, but I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know who's in charge. How the fuck is you negotiating then? I'm negotiating for the sale of my house, but I don't know who the realtor is or the company. I don't know who's in charge of all that, but I'm negotiating. They're calling me. They're ready to make a deal. Huh. Well, beautiful. Well, hopefully Murph will grace us tomorrow just for a short while. It's to be an earlier start time tomorrow, Murph. Maybe she'll grace us for a little bit. I want to hear about her trip to the islands. I'll be down in Bimini October. Yeah, it's one of the stops. Yeah, one of my stops. Yeah. I want to see if they added anything or all that good stuff. But anyway, I've done enough of talking, and it's time to kind of get into. Let me get my notes together. Let me get it together. Okay, yeah, I think it's time. Yeah, I've done an hour. No music today. Thanks StreamYard for that. Are you going away for your birthday? Okay, cool. That's what's up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be definitely tuning in for that, Murph. I'll be definitely tuning in for that because I like to see my people go outside and actually enjoy. But you don't know where you're going yet, beautiful. We can make some suggestions. Okay. How about this, beautiful? And I'll do this real quick before we get into the pulpit portion of the show because it's just what over here. What type of weather are you looking to enjoy? I would just say that, and I can kind of tell you some places. Caribbean, okay, cool. Virgin Islands is a good spot. I'm gonna tell you a spot that's really slept on, that a lot of people don't consider. Like when you think Caribbean, people automatically start thinking Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Virgin Islands, Jamaica. People start thinking about, but a very cost-effective. I was thinking about St. Martin. St. Martin, fucking beautiful. St. Martin is beautiful. I'm over there having flashbacks. Yeah, that might be one of the trips next year. But just throw that out there. But like one of the places that is, I would consider part of the Caribbean. That is a little more cost effective. If you're able to kind of swing it right, is Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. And it's not like I said, you can not to say that it's cheap, but it's a little bit more cost effective because it is a tinge of the American element down there as far as like when you're talking about hotels and resorts. I work with too many now. Beautiful. You're missing out. Beautiful country. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And you don't need a passport. You don't need a passport. But we'll say that for tomorrow. We'll say that for another time. Maybe save it for Murph's return, Queen of the Boring Sector, her return. No pressure. No pressure. Okay, let's get into the pulpit portion. I think I got a bit of a message tonight. Hopefully, Hopefully. Let's take it.
The devil is a liar. Yes, he is.
All right, we are back. We're back. Where did I put it? Okay, yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, you made some cool. Listen, beautiful. I'm not gonna do these Tuesday shows. I mean the Monday shows. The Monday shows are not gonna be as long. Tuesday shows a little bit more, um, a little bit more. I guess engaged. I would say less. I want to say less focused. It's a different energy. Here's I try to keep it focused on that material. But anyway, I'm saying too much. But tonight's message, like I said, thank you for taking the time to listen to little old me. It's beautiful. Like say, like share, subscribe. But tonight's message is normalize being okay with letting people think whatever they want about you. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it again. And then the word I want you to kind of focus on when I say this first statement is normalize being okay. Normalize being the word I want you to focus on. Normalize being okay with letting people think whatever they want about you. I don't know why it's, and not just, I'm not pointing out anybody in particular, but, the idea that, everyone was supposed to like us and, be validated or approved by people, by everyone that we know. That's supposed to be, what you think about me is it's an illusion. It's an illusion. You got to normalize being okay with here's another key word I want y'all to focus on. Normalize with letting people. Let people think whatever they want to think about you. And you gotta let them. As much as you may want to fight the narrative, you may want to fight how they're distorting your image. You gotta let people think whatever they want about you. You got to. Your mental health, your peace, and your happiness is more important than anybody's acceptance or opinions or perception of you. You get lost. You can get lost trying to be a people pleaser, trying to do whatever you can to be accepted by this person. And no matter what you do, no matter how much you bend over, no matter how much you compromise your peace and your mental health and your happiness to get the approval of everyone isn't it's the definition of insanity. You got to normalize being okay with it. Now, do I I'm not above the fray. Now, do I want people to like me for me? Yeah. But I understand it, and I've grown to understand it. You know what? I'm not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not your kind of coffee. I'm not your favorite dish. And see, I'm okay with that. Because what I won't do to become what you want me to be, or what I'm not going to fit into your image of. I'll never fit into that. I'll never fit into it. Not for everyone. It's some people that will accept you for you, will accept you for all your gifts, will accept you for all of your shortcomings and all your flaws, and will accept you for what you are. But then it's going to be, that ilk. And I would say this is the majority of people that are not going to be happy because you don't fit what I want you to be. You got people, not just on the social media space, but you got people in real life that hate you for no other reason than you being you. They hate you. Listen, they hate you for listen. It is a person right now. I'm just going to use Miss Murphy. I saw her, throw her hands up. Amen. Listen, it's a person right now that's going to be listening to the sound of my voice. That is going to be upset and mad that Miss Murphy had the nerve, the unmitigated gall, to go on a vacation. How dare you live life? Because my image of you that you're supposed to be broken down, lonely. How dare you enjoy life? How dare you not fit into the mold and into the image that I have of you? How dare you not do that? But you know what? You got to normalize being okay with letting people. That's why I say I want you to, normalize. I'm not, you got to understand, listen, I'm not for everybody. It is somebody right now watching you. It could be a family member. It's watching your every move, looking at you on your social media, seeing you tagging yourself and you at this place. There you go, Murphy. Fuck whoever don't like it. Because listen, once you start letting, you trying to appease the mental health of other people, when you trying to make them feel at peace and you trying to make them happy, guess what? You sacrificing your own self. Your own shit is more important. Anybody's, I'd be damned if I stress myself out, lose a wink of sleep to get acceptance from somebody. I'd be damned if I stress myself out and worry about your opinion of me. What matters is my opinion of myself. And if I'm happy with what the product that I look at in the mirror on a daily basis, and when I walk out the door and I'm happy with the product that I bring home on a daily basis, my family is happy with the product that I bring home every day, the fuck I care about your opinion of me. Your opinion is irrelevant. And I don't care how much, you scream. I don't care how much you get mad. Guess what? It's still irrelevant. I don't care how much attention you draw to what, and draw in a crowd and say, hey, this is what I think of this dude. I don't give a fuck. It's irrelevant. Because I've normalized with being okay with letting people think whatever you want about me. Murph, I know. Murph, I know. Listen, and once you come to that I would say that maturity. Once you hit that level of maturity in life, where you're not concerned about, keeping up with the Joneses and putting on appearances and being stressed out by, listen, I walk out the door. I don't have to wear Gucci and all of that shit. Can I afford it? Yeah. Do I care about it? No. But if you care, about it and you want me to, well, whatever, I could care less. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna let you do you. So so the message for the night, man, hey, just normalize being okay with letting people think whatever they want about you. Once you reach that level of maturity, tell you what, man, life becomes so much more peaceful. And I don't want people to think peaceful meaning quiet. Peaceful meaning like, what, I'm cool in my skin. I'm comfortable with me. Then what you see, listen, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna close out. And what you see is when people are not okay with letting people think whatever they want, they'll spend more time trying to change your opinion instead of trying to change themselves. But I'm gonna leave it right there. Thank y'all for taking the time out to listen to little old me. It's always a little bit of housekeeping. Good to see Murph back in one, please. I can't wait to hear about the trip. I did go see Michael. And for those who heard about me saying I did go see Michael last night. We'll have a review. So stay tuned for that. Interesting. But let me get my ass up out here, man. I want to watch the rest of these playoff games, while I can. Thank you for taking time out to listen to little old me, man. Hey man, be blessed, not stressed. Be blessed, not stressed. We're gonna get up on out of here, man. You know the phrase that pays over here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But every time, you learn. And I'm out.